Welcome to the 2016 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix preview. And, guys, this is it. The jewel in the desert. Rosberg or Hamilton. 20 races have been battled throughout the 2016 season. Loads of drama, loads of incidents, and it all comes down to one Grand Prix. 55 laps will decide who will be the 2016 champion. Will it be Nico Rosberg, his first world title, or will it be Lewis Hamilton's fourth world title? Honestly, guys, this couldn't be any more exciting. I think this is more exciting than the 2014 one because Hamilton was more or less in the favourite, in the frame to win that. Rosberg now, he's got it in the bag, really. Hamilton has to do a lot to get this title, to be fair, guys. All Rosberg has to do is finish on the podium. That is it. Regardless where Hamilton finishes, he has to finish on the podium. But for Hamilton to win it, I think Rosberg has to finish like 5th or something, or even, like, obviously more favourably retire from the race, which he did in 2014, if you remember, guys. But I mean, Elsie, we're just going to jump straight into this. This is the only main thing that we can talk about. Nico or Lewis. Loads of people are debating. Loads of people have been debating on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on our Facebook page. Go and like it if you haven't already. About who is it going to be. A lot of people are saying, obviously, 99% of people are saying Rosberg, but then 1% are saying Hamilton. So I'm gonna ask you straight away, Elsie, straight away, out the bag, Rosberg or Hamilton? Who do you think it's going to be?
Hamilton. JT Hamilton, definitely all the way. I've got to say with Lewis Hamilton, okay? So with Lewis Hamilton, if he gets this championship, if he wins this championship, okay? Remember, he's pulled it back. He's had, compared to Nico Rosberg's season, Lewis has kind of been in the shadow, and we'll go into that in more detail, obviously, as you remember the race and the statistics and the fighting and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, as you remember, obviously, he's been from Mexico. That's when we first mentioned that Nico could lift the World Championship. And then, so obviously, when Lewis was on a deficit, after the season break, after Nico won all the races, Mexico he could have won it, and then it's like race, chop down, and it comes down to the last race. I mean, Lewis has done an amazing job to get it this, to get it this tight after a massive gap where it was almost like we were celebrating in the streets, and Germany was going mad, going, right, Nico Rosberg has become the new world championship. We have yet another trophy going back to Germany, and it's just unbelievable how much Lewis has. He's brought this fight back to himself, JT, and obviously with 2014 it wasn't so much of a massive gap beforehand, but it's back to that scenario, and he's chopped that lead down so much. It's almost like he's a chef. He's got a big knife and the big carrot of Rosberg's lead, and he's just been chopping it down.
It's just chopped it all the way.
I can't believe this, JT. That's the bigger thing that's getting me and you, and I think everyone. Lewis Hamilton has just cut down Nico's lead from a few races ago. I mean, I say this time last month, when it was Mexico, we were saying Nico could win it, and Lewis was out of the framework completely. Now, Lewis has, I'd say, a very, very, very good chance of winning it. JT, that's the thing that gets me.
I think that's a very bold statement, Elsie, but remember, if Hamilton wins the race, and if Rosberg finishes on the podium, which, let's not forget, that's happened a lot this season.
Yeah.
I think it hasn't happened twice. They haven't finished on the podium twice, obviously in Malaysia and in Spain, most famously. Apart from that, Rosberg has finished on the podium. Even if he finishes P3 and Hamilton wins the race, he's won it.
Yeah.
So I think really it's as like I said before, if Rosberg loses it, then he's not going to win it again. It really, really isn't, because Rosberg, he's never been in more of a favourable position to win the championship. He's been in Lewis's shadow for 2 years in a row. 2014 he was very close. 2015 he was nowhere in sight. He had a very poor season, but. This is what people have been debating about this battle, because at the start of the season, Lewis Hamilton had problems left, right and centre with his car. Loads of technical problems, engine problems, suspension problems. Honestly, you name it, Lewis Hamilton had it. Rosberg ran away with this. 4 wins out of 4, 7 in a row, continuing on from last season. He was going into Spain all happy Larry. Then they collide. Then things change. Hamilton wins every single race from Monaco up until Hungary, let's say. Germany. That was actually before the summer break. Won all them apart from the European Grand Prix. He stormed Nico Rosberg, catches up with him over a 43-point lead, and overtakes him. Then the summer break comes into play. Come back into Belgium, and Rosberg takes over. Apart from Lewis Hamilton's catastrophic engine failure, dominating that Grand Prix. Had an engine failure, which a lot of conspiracy theorists just went, they did it on purpose. Red Bull went on to win that race, nice and comfortably, and then obviously Lewis Hamilton winning every single race up until then. And so you can tell Lewis Hamilton is trying his very hardest. He is desperate to get this title. Obviously winning, I think the last 3 races, I believe, in a row now.
Yep.
So obviously this will be his fourth in a row. Then who knows? Else he might continue this on the next season,
I know,
and then continue Nico Rosberg's form from last season. But honestly, guys, I've never been more excited of a championship fight in my whole entire F1 like following career. Honestly, it's been absolutely amazing. But in my opinion, it has to be Rosberg. Honestly, there is no other way Hamilton could win it other than Rosberg retires. That's it, in my opinion. Or if something really bad happens to Rosberg, because even if he spins, he's got the pace and the ability to catch up. The rest of the pack isn't fast enough for Nico Rosberg. He'll overtake them with ease, and he'll claw that lead back. He'll be determined to get that lead back. All he has to do is finish on the podium. If he overtakes Ricciardo for P3, he'll go, right, I've got Seb. I'm sorry, not Seb. Why Seb's passing? I've got Max 20 seconds in front of me. I've got Ricciardo 10 seconds behind me. I've got 2 laps to go. Let's chill. Let's relax. Let's bring it home. And he's won it. Hamilton, on the other hand, will have to literally just quickly nudge him off the track. He spins. He crashes into the barrier. Hamilton wins the title. Imagine that happens, Elsie. Is that Prost and Senna all over again? Wow, it'll be
mad. There's no way back from it. That's the big thing.
No,
so obviously, if
not.
that does happen, JT, it's almost like obviously, as you know, with Spain when they crashed, they had Monaco and they had loads of other races. It was round 5 Spain, so they had 16 more rounds to sort it out. So technically, they might be still sorting out Spain, but obviously, if something like that happens, then there's no way back from it. It's almost like you can say sorry as many times as you want, but it is too late.
Exactly.
It's too late to say sorry, in the words of Justin Bieber, which obviously is a Hamilton fan. So
he was good friends with Lewis Hamilton.
Drank some champagne at Monaco. So
why did he do that? He
did. But JT, what I was going to say with Rosberg, obviously, is the thing that gets me about Rosberg. Obviously, for example, obviously, as you just said in Abu Dhabi, okay, he comes 3rd place after Lewis does an amazing 1st place. The most Lewis can do is obviously your 1st place. Obviously that's that's the highest position in the race.
That's it.
But Nico Rosberg, obviously, just 3rd place. I mean, so I'll throw some statistics at you. Stat attack. So obviously, as you know, there's been 20 rounds. As JT said, bar Malaysia and Spain, which obviously both Mercedes didn't have a 1-2. Mercedes have had a 1-2 in 18 rounds. It obviously is every round bar 2, bar Malaysia and Spain. Sorry, there's been even in Malaysia, there was still 1 Mercedes driver on the podium. So the chances of Nico and Lewis being on the podium, whatever positions they are, obviously Lewis being on the top step, Nico either being on 2 or 3, which obviously remember a 1-2 has happened 17 times. So again, I'll just go through that if you missed it. It's been 20 rounds, 18 times. There's been a Mercedes, both Mercedes drivers on the podium. 1 less round, it's been a 1-2. Okay, so a 1-2, either Hamilton and Rosberg, or the other way around, Rosberg and Hamilton. So you can't get away from that statistics, JT. You can't say that Nico won't get on the podium. But if he does, obviously the lowest step on the podium, 3rd place. If he does that, or 2nd place, he's got it. And that's the sad thing I think about where Hamilton's situation. He can try his best, and he can do the very, very best he can. But Rosberg only needs that position. It's very sad. And to be honest, I think if Rosberg wins because of that, a bit like Professor, a bit like how they called Alain Prost the Professor, okay? Because if he needed, let's say, 7th place to win the World Championship, he wouldn't go for 6th. He would go for 7th. And I always thought, hang on a minute, you're a legend in Formula 1. Why are you doing this? It's a bit like Rosberg. So if Rosberg goes for 3rd place, that's it. And there's one word, JT, a big word, so I'll break it down for you. If Rosberg wins because of this, so Hamilton comes 1st, Rosberg comes 3rd, and he's won on, are you ready for this? A technicality. A statistical technicality, because it's almost like Rosberg he's doing a prof. He's finishing in the position that he needs to, and not really going for the win or 2nd place. But I mean that's the thing. I mean Hamilton can't control Rosberg's race. He can only do his own race. So obviously if Hamilton wins, that'll be great for him. And technically Hamilton's done enough to be world champion. But obviously he looks behind himself and he goes, well, I can't control Rosberg. Rosberg is, as I say, Rosberg is his own man. I know that sounds stupid to say, but it really, really is. And as JT said before, as the statistics have said, for 17 of 20 rounds, both Mercedes on the podium is inevitable, and even P2 is, but P3 will do the job. And that's a very sad thing I think Lewis has got to think, because he thinks, unlike 2014, when he was actually in a big battle with Nico Rosberg, and there wasn't really anyone that was coming out ahead, even though he did have the lead at that point, Hamilton can come first, but Lico, I think, if he gets third, which there's probably about a 95% chance, isn't it, JT? You can agree with that, can't you? Unless they crash.
Definitely.
Obviously, twice.
Imagine if both of them collided though at the start.
But do you know
How
what?
controversial would that be?
That is inevitable. That could happen. But there's been two scenarios, and we've mentioned that loads in this video, Malaysia and Spain. Malaysia, obviously, was a Hamilton blowout. That was not his fault. Spain was their fault, but they couldn't have taken anyone else out. It had to be each other. So, I mean, I want Hamilton to win. Hamilton can do his best, and I think Hamilton win the race. He does. He goes well around Abu Dhabi. He really does. Obviously, I remember 2011, which was a fantastic race by him and that McLaren. But if not Rosberg gets on the podium, which is a very high chance, then that's game over. And that's the sad thing. Put them on level points, and I think we'd have a different story, and Hamilton would just blitz him. But Rosberg, I think he'll have less pressure than Hamilton, JT, coming into this weekend.
He definitely will, to be fair. But honestly, guys, this is crucial. This is absolutely massive. Rosberg could potentially win his first World Championship, which would be absolutely incredible to see, in my opinion. But let us know in the comments below, who do you think will win the championship? Just basically comment Hamilton or Rosberg and explain why, guys.
Yeah, exactly. This is absolutely massive. But obviously, those two drivers aren't just the two drivers in the race. We have to go into everyone else.
Yes, we do.
And the next team that we're going to mention, obviously, is the best of the rest. The team who have won second place, and they have obviously under 100 points, but around 80 points ahead of Ferrari, which is Red Bull Racing. And obviously, I think the driver we have to start off with, JT, is Max Verstappen. We talked about him in the F1 Debate episode 33, which obviously is his number, which is kind of a good coincidence, really.
It is a very good coincidence, actually.
The stars line up for us. Anyway, so obviously absolutely unbelievable from him. People comparing it to Senna, which we mentioned that in the video. And yeah, this is Senna's next race. But what we did mention in the debate show, I don't want to get you to watch this instead of the debate show. But I was going to say though, remember obviously that if people are going to compare Brazil to his Spain when he won, let's not hope that Abu Dhabi is going to be like the next race after Spain, because we all remember what happened in that weekend, JT. Because what did Max do on the Saturday session and on the Sunday session?
Crash.
He did.
He was the Maldonado. He was Maldonado.
He did so.
He won in Spain and then he crashed the next week. I'm sure Maldonado did that in 2012.
I mean, probably did. It's Maldonado, JT. Come on.
It is Maldonado.
But,
he did crash,
Yeah. We don't want that, obviously. But mate, obviously, Max will do an amazing race. We hope, anyway. He could separate the Mercedes on the podium, but that is a sad thing. Obviously, Mercedes probably going to be on the podium. But do you think he will be able to get a podium, JT? Max Verstappen? Do you think he will be able to either separate or come, obviously, best of the rest behind Mercedes drivers?
Oh, definitely. Max Verstappen will want to say in this championship. He's already said that already. I mean, to be fair, he's the guy that could basically decide who he's going to be, Hamilton or Rosberg. He could decide who. Like, I'm going to go for you. I want Hamilton to win it. I'm going to be a menace to Rosberg. But Max Verstappen is more than capable of getting a podium at this circuit. Definitely, he's such a very talented driver. Obviously, it's not going to rain in Abu Dhabi. I can't say that happening. It's in the middle of a desert. I don't think it ever rains in Abu Dhabi, as far as I'm aware. But I don't know.
Sometimes, but it's hot rain, and it won't last very long.
Exactly. So it'll probably just go on the track and then it'll just basically evaporate. What's the point in What's the point in having the wet tyres there? I don't think even take them. What's the point?
Probably for a
exactly, the super sand tyres as well. If I hear, are you listening? The super sand tyres. There we go.
Put chains on the tyres, that might help.
Exactly. Who knows? But he was back on Max Verstappen. Yes, he is. I think he will get a podium. He is going to have a say in this championship. Red Bull have been saying that Max isn't going to back out this fight. They've been saying that America, Mexico, obviously Brazil. They've been saying Max isn't going to back out of this. We are going to back out this fight. We're going to go for the win. We want the win. You know, of course they do. They're not really fighting for anything, but it adds another win to them, adds another trophy to the family, Milton Keynes. So why not? They've got nothing to lose. Red Bull, they couldn't give a damn. You know, they're like the Ferrari or they're like the McLaren of 2010 to 2013 when they were dominating. So they're like, you know, this is a good position to be in. We've got no pressure on us. You know what I mean? Unlike the Mercedes, who obviously one of their drivers will have to perform well to actually end up winning the title. But yeah, Max Verstappen will do well. On the other hand, Daniel Ricciardo, he's had a good season. The only driver not to retire this season, which is an absolutely tremendous record, just proves how talented Daniel Ricciardo is. loads of momentum going into next season. I just hope he doesn't blunder this record this weekend. Who knows? Who knows? Elsie, Ricardo might have a say in this title race, so I really don't know. But I'm expecting good things from the Red Bull drivers. I think that they have got their mind on 2017. They want to start again. They know they can catch the Mercedes. They have been close. The only team to do it this season. So it's always been one particular team. 2014 it was Red Bull. 2015 it was Ferrari. Now this season it's Red Bull. The only team that can catch the Mercedes. So next season they'll be properly focused on the car, on the developments, on the drivers to go, right guys, we have got the perfect lineup, we've got the perfect setup, we've got the perfect car, let's go and catch the Mercedes. They might bring some new members on board, who knows, I don't know, might bring us two on board, who knows, I'll say.
That would be great, can you?
That'd be really good, doing the company for Red Bull.
I've got some kit, just so I'm a bit ahead.
Exactly, it's available, exactly. Obviously McLaren, who knows, 22.
Well, they need all the help they can get.
Exactly. And speaking of everyone who needs all the help they can get, which is going to be our next team we're going to move on to, which is Ferrari.
That was a good cliche, that.
That was amazing, wasn't it? Ferrari, guys, what a poor season by them, to be fair. They cannot wait for the season to end. They really, really can it. They're, again, better Red Bull. They're going into next season on a bit of a negative, on a negative prospect, because Red Bull have been so good this season. Well, I would probably say about not so much the start, more or less during the midfield. Actually, ever since Max Verstappen joined the team, let's say, I think that's when.
Daniel Kvyat might be watching, JC. You've got to be nice.
I'm sorry, Daniel. I'm just speaking the truth. We are there for debate show. We are the truth. You're a crap driver. You will not. You weren't even good enough to do for Red Bull. Max Verstappen's a much better driver than you. There we go. I've said it. But yes, Ferrari will want to go next season, develop the car, be the team they are again. They are going through a bit of a crisis at the moment. I did say that in 2014, but I heard to a few people as well. When I was on admins on a couple of Facebook pages for obviously on Formula One, I was saying Ferrari's in a crisis. I think they are again this season, more or less towards the end. They were second in the constructors for the majority of the season till about Britain Hungary time, I would say, coming into the summer break, and that's when Red Bull. So Ferrari will want to catch that. They want to claw back this lead to Red Bull. And maybe they can challenge the Mercedes. Maybe Ferrari might be the surprise package that all of a sudden might have a 60-point lead by Spain, say. Who knows, Elsie? That would be pretty incredible for Ferrari. But this weekend, it's nothing really. Ferrari have got nothing to race for. Ferrari, they're not going to be ahead of the Red Bulls. The Red Bulls are going to be wanting to catch the Mercedes. They want to put their foot in the door in this title fight. Ferrari don't have the pace. But maybe, say, the Red Bulls struggle in terms of pace. They might have no power. They might have a problem. Do you think Ferrari will be that team to pounce and maybe stop this title? Maybe stop either Hamilton or Rosberg to win the title, Elsie? Can Ferrari do that?
No. when have they done that this season?
There we go.
That's the proof. But obviously... But obviously, they're doing well. They're doing the best that they can. Obviously, but Ferrari, though, obviously, remember you've got the two drivers, Kimi Räikkönen and Fernando Alonso. Sorry, Sebastian Vettel. We've got those two drivers. Seb, he does really well round here. Obviously, one of my favourite races was obviously 2012, when you had Sebastian Vettel. Obviously, I made a bet on Lewis Hamilton to win that race. So when I saw Sebastian Vettel, obviously he conked out, out of fuel, and obviously that was a regulation that you had to make it back with that fuel, and he ran out of fuel, insufficient fuel amount, and went in the back of the grid, but then came through to get on the podium. One of the best races from Sebastian Vettel. Obviously, that's when he did his multiple winning streak in 2013. He does really, really, really well down here, around here. Obviously, Kimi Räikkönen got his first win when he came back from Formula One with Lotus Renault. So both drivers doing well, but not with Ferrari, unfortunately. Ferrari, I think they're looking into 2017 season. Obviously, I think they do, as you said, JT. Obviously, they want to get through this weekend, get back on that plane to Italy, and then just get back to Maranello and just work on the car and just work on everything, because they need to be back on form. And obviously they need to, when they're a team that normally dominates and stamps its foot down with authority in the winter testing in Spain, and they haven't done that. They had a
really good start of the season. In pre-season, as I said before, in this season, I was looking at them going, Ferrari's going to be strong this season. They were fastest on a couple of days in testing. Then obviously they had that amazing start in Australia, and then since then it just hasn't been the same.
Well, JT didn't obviously before the season started, and obviously when we first launched this channel, we were saying that Sebastian Vettel could be the only driver will be the only driver to catch the two Mercedes. We were saying that, you know, in the first episode we were talking about.
I believe one night me and you were out and about, and we said that Vettel would win the World Championship.
I think we did. I mean, yeah,
we did.
I think we did.
How wrong were we? Why?
Yeah.
Why? What were we on that day? God knows, anyways.
I'm not sure, but I mean, it could have happened. You know, 3 races last year, but again, we said that Ricciardo would win in 2015. Obviously, winning 3 races with Red Bull in that year. Obviously, when Sebastian had failed, but obviously Seb not doing very well, Kimi not doing very well. But that's the car. As drivers, though, they are so strong, and I think they'll be on just to push the car to like beyond their limits. But obviously, the car's limits, I've got no idea. Also, the big thing with Ferrari that I've always watched out for is reliability. They've had a lot of problems with the car. They've had massive blowouts. They've had problems hit left, right, and centre. Biggest one obviously was Bahrain, the second race of the season, with Sebastian's blowout on the formation lap. Obviously, absolutely massive from there. But Ferrari, as JT said, the biggest thing is they'll just want this season to end. They'll just want to get back to Maranello and work on the 2017 car, which, I mean, they always promise will be good. So let's just hope it is. You know, it is good when they get back, have a summer, you know, in nice Italy, just think about it. What can they work on in the car? So the next team, or the next 2 teams even, we're going to mention in this bundle is obviously Force India and Williams. Now, remind yourself, a few races back, I think the fight started, let's say, well, from Belgium. It got really, really tense in Italy, and ever since then, or ever since obviously Brazil, when it kind of ended it, it's been very, very tight. Obviously Force India leapfrogging Williams and vice versa, and now Force India obviously is in 4th place, Williams is in 5th, but the gap is massive, JT. So there is a 27-point lead by Force India at the top. I mean, Williams, are they actually going to catch that? When, obviously, before Williams were ahead of Force India, that has been a great battle, but I think can we safely say now that we're going to bow out to that, and obviously Force India are going to retain that lead, and Williams are going to stay in 5th. So obviously a bit of a disappointment season for Williams, but obviously amazing by Force India and their 2 drivers. Obviously Nico Hülkenberg, his last race with Force India, and Sergio Perez, which could be in line for the driver of the season. But obviously we'll have to wait. You know, we'll have to wait a few months to find out if that's going to happen. Yes, wait to see. But JT, obviously, Force India. Let's start with. I mean, they have been an unbelievable team, and obviously 2 unbelievable drivers to make an amazing gain over Williams. And is that fight now kaput? Because are Force India even going to extend this 27-point lead they have on Williams?
I think they will, yes, because it's 27 points. Basically, Williams will have to win the race, and then some, to actually catch Force India. And Force India will finish in the points unless something bad happens, but they will finish in the points. So if you're judging this race like with no retirements and on statistics and on stats and on general pace, then Force India will finish in the points. So you know it is inevitable that Williams will catch them. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. Force India have secured 4th place. It has been an absolutely tremendous season for Force India, a team that I wasn't expecting to do well, mind Elsie, because I heard during the summer, towards the end of the 2015 season, that they were struggling with money. Whenever I've heard a team that they're struggling with money, they've always done the next season bad. For example, Lotus Renault in 2013, about 5 races towards the end, I heard they were in a lot of trouble with money-wise, and obviously would let and then Reitland leaving. He wasn't paid for it the last few races, I believe. Excuse me. So obviously jumped ship to Ferrari. Then the following season, the car was terrible. It was awful. Honestly, it was really, really bad for Lotus. Compared to the big success they had the previous 2 seasons. So, and I was thinking to myself, Force India might be that type of team, and they weren't. The pace was tremendous. I would say if Sergio Perez has more or less carried that team. I'm not really kicking at Nico Hülkenberg. I'm just saying that he hasn't been, for me, Nico Hülkenberg hasn't really stood out to me this season. Perez for me, he's been driving the day 3 times. He's been on the podium 3 times. Nico Hülkenberg, I think he's the biggest finish he's ever had in Formula 1 in general is 4th, and the same again this season. So he hasn't been on the podium. There's been a few races where I've been like, oh yeah, he's had a good drive, but nothing compared to Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
But and for me, Nico Hülkenberg hasn't really shone. I think for me, Perez has pretty much put Force India where they are, really, and it fully deserved. And to me, he deserves to be elsewhere. He deserves to be Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, but he's sticking to his guns and same with Force India. And I do hope that they do continue continue this form on the next season. But speaking of next season, a team that is definitely looking on the next season is Williams, who is obviously got 5th place. Terrible season. But let's just put that aside for now, because when we mention Williams, there's only one guy to mention in this. A guy who, in my opinion, is going down as a legend in Formula 1. One of the nicest lads you'll ever meet in Formula 1. Obviously, his bow out at the Brazilian Grand Prix was one of the best I've ever seen. Obviously, that I'm what about Felipe Massa. His last 250th and his last Grand Prix is this weekend. And LC, I'm going to be so upset when he leaves. When he walks out. When he gets out of that car in Parc Fermé, waves to everybody, that's it. Massa, that's it. It's gone. That is going to be so weird.
It's going to be well, you know, obviously moving. Brazil was obviously when he got that massive set. I think the thing that got you obviously was when Mercedes were clapping him. Obviously not even related to Felipe, but obviously knowing how much of a legend he is. Obviously Mercedes were the first team, so technically they started it all off. Obviously Ferrari gave him a good clap. Williams gave him a good clap. I was expecting Rob Smedley to come out and maybe do like a big bromance hug or something like that. Actually was. Because obviously it's Rob Smedley and Felipe Massa, but still, and obviously his son came out and his wife came out, so that was obviously really nice. It
was amazing.
I just wish that Brazil was obviously the last race, so we could have done that. Apart from obviously the bad finish, but to be honest, the bad race he had because he crashed obviously and had to retire. But none of that mattered. I mean, seriously, he could have had a DNS. You know, he might have just said, right, I don't feel like driving today. He could have just maybe walked a lap. You know, and then waved, but the crowd would have loved him as much as, and obviously we would have as well. What an absolutely amazing guy he absolutely is. So I hope he has a really good race. This race obviously have a final bow out, and I don't think he might not have the kind of the support the clap and the celebrations that he had in Brazil. Because obviously he already did that in Brazil, but obviously it will be very, very, very special. Obviously his teammate Valtteri Bottas again will want to do a great race. Obviously because this is his last race where he's kind of like the number 2 driver in Williams. Because obviously next year he's going to be number 1. He's going to have a very young teammate who will be able to boss around. He'll be able to go, right, you do that, you do that, you do that.
Exactly. You are now my apprentice.
Well, he is. Technically he is, and obviously, there's no doubt that Lance will actually want to learn off Valtteri. I mean, I would, because obviously, big driver, and obviously what we think is
Lance has got some big boots to fill in Felipe Massa. He really
has. But obviously, if you can win a world championship, Lance, then that all goes.
Then that's good, but
we're not going to live off that. Massa's the best driver not to win a world championship. I mean, obviously, there's been some amazing drivers before. Obviously, fellow Brazilian Rubens Barrichello, Fisichella, Mark Webber, who have been in Formula 1 and they just haven't managed to get Gerhard Berger. He's obviously a very big one that I really like. Who've gone through Formula 1, had an amazing career, but haven't won a Formula 1 World Championship, and that's important to somebody who doesn't like Formula 1. But if you like Formula 1 and you understand it, and you understand how hard it is to be a Formula 1 driver, to win and to be a legend, then it really is. And that's what we like saying about Mark Webber, JT, when he retired from Brazil 2013. He is an amazing legend. He just unfortunately didn't get to win a World Championship. Obviously 2008, 2010. When he narrowly missed it, and obviously 2008, that was probably the closest and saddest and most emotional championship fight ever. I mean, it really was. Obviously Hamilton joy, Massa despair, and it really was. He worked so hard for it. But anyway, he's a great driver, no doubt. It doesn't matter that he hasn't won a world championship. He will always be remembered as a legend. Obviously, catch the F1 debate show on Saturday where we'll talk about him.
Definitely.
And obviously the other retiree from Formula 1 in more detail.
So the next thing to move on to is McLaren. Now, we've already discussed one departure in Formula 1. Now we're going to discuss another one, and this is probably the saddest of the lot. 17 years of Formula 1, and Jenson Button has come to the end of his Formula 1 career. Now, this is probably the most frustrating retirement I've ever come across in Formula 1, because I don't know, or nobody knows if Jenson is actually going to come back. Now, I like a proper send-off in Formula 1. What we had for Schumacher the first and second time, what we had for Mark Webber when he left Formula 1 2013, retirements like that, where it's a proper celebration to celebrate their life in Formula 1 and what they've given to the sport. And Jenson's not going to get that, because if we're going to have a big party of a retirement for Jenson Button, and then he pops up in Australia 2018 and goes, "Oh, hi guys, sorry, I've come back." Then he says, like Britain 2018, and goes, "Right guys, I'm announcing my retirement from Formula 1 altogether. I'm not coming back." Then we'll go, all right, Jensen, let's blow all them old balloons up, let's get all the old cake back in, and just do it all over again. He'd like, and then like the second time around, he'd be like, this is boring, we've already done this, so like, what's the point? But no, but obviously, this is probably one of the most debatable stories going around in Formula One. Will Jensen be back in Formula One 2018? LC himself has said no. I said I don't know, as I probably most people said. I did say this once, that I don't know if this is a goodbye or I'll see you later.
Catch you in a bit.
You know, what kind of retirement is this? Exactly. I'm just popping in the shops. It won't be long.
Keep your seat warm.
Pretty much. That's pretty much how it is. You don't know if he's going to come back or not. But I mean, LC, 17 years in Formula One, and this is potentially the end of Jensen Button in Formula One, which is I'm good. But what he's achieved in Formula One is just every kid's dream. Like, the story around it is just one of them things where in his career in Formula One, he got up. You know, he brought up. He had a tough start. He got brought up with Honda in 2004. He had a tremendous season. Finished third in the Drivers' Championships. Won his first race in 2006. He was doing really, really well with himself. Then 2007, 2008, it all went pear-shaped for Jensen Button. His career, the car wasn't good. It wasn't designed properly. The engine was very powerful. It wasn't very powerful, which is Honda in a nutshell in the modern era of Formula One. Let's say, even 10, 11 years ago now. But and then in the end of 2008 season, that was it for Jensen. His career was gone. But here comes Ross Brawn, and he gets him a seat in 2009. And then look what happens, LC. He wins the championship. That's absolutely amazing. Then obviously continue along, and then obviously the latter stage of his career, not so much Jensen himself, it's more or less the car. Since 2013, he just hasn't been the same. I think Jensen is sick and bored and tired of all of it now. You can tell by his voice. In 2013, 2014, he was taking this seriously. Now in 2015, 2016, just the way he talks, the way he speaks, it is a joke to him. He's like, look, we've retired again, and all, just his radio messages and stuff. It is bad. But obviously, Jensen leaving, coming in, Stoffel Van Dorn, who's already driven this season, P10, scored points in every single round. So he scored points in every single round he's ever competed in Formula One. Tremendous record for Stoffel Van Dorn, but let's hope that form can continue in the next season. So LC, Jensen Button, leaving in Formula One. Are you sad, or are you like, see you later, oldie? We don't need any oldies in Formula One. I want to see the new guns in Formula One.
No way.
I thought so.
I love Jensen. I can't believe he's leaving. He is Formula One in a nutshell. He really was. I mean, he's had an unbelievable season, which we talk about. We talk about that twice in the F1 Debate Show episode 30, I think it is, which is obviously your 300th Grand Prix in Malaysia. We talk about his statistics and stuff like that. And we also made a big debate episode 3 where we talked about... No, it wasn't. That was the start. That was the first episode of the F1 Debate Show. The big debate, sorry. That was Jensen, Stoffel and Alonso, and obviously is Jensen going to leave. So let's just start with that, JT. Now, obviously, I think what he's doing is, I think he's just kind of making sure that is it the right decision for him. And I've got to say, maybe he'll say something a bit more so this weekend where he'll make his decision. Obviously, let's compare it a bit to Michael Schumacher. Obviously, first his 2006 retirement and then his 2012 retirement. His 2006 retirement, I always remember, obviously, on Skype F1 they were saying that 2006 Brazil, it was a retirement, it was a send-off, but it wasn't very special. It was like there was a few banners out, obviously, thank you, Michael, danke, Michael, German flags, Ferrari flags, well done. You finished the race, well done, see you later. But it wasn't massive. But he came back in 2010, JT, had 2 years, which was good, and then his send-off was an unbelievable. I loved that. I loved that send-off. It was absolutely amazing. And he was Mercedes driver when they weren't very good at that time. He wasn't the big cheese. Obviously, it was Sebastian Vettel winning the race. But I've got to say, it was probably about 50-50. Like, 50% was on, obviously, Vettel and Alonso's battle. But the other 50 was on Michael, big Michael. That was unbelievable from that. So I think the send-off for Jensen, it'll be special in Abu Dhabi, but I've got to say, though, I think that confusion between us, obviously people like the FOM, the party planners, obviously that McLaren have hired, it's like, what do we do? What do you write on the cake? Do we write, see you later, Jensen? But as a bit like you said, JT, you got it perfect.
See you later.
Put the cherry on the cake. Are you putting the cherry on the cake, by the way? So
I am.
So obviously,
I love
are they going to write, bye Jensen, have a great life, or are they going to write, see you in 2018, Stoffel's going to keep your seat warm? what are they going to do? But obviously, for Jensen, I think he's had an unbelievable career. You do as well, JT. Obviously, we love him. He's absolutely amazing. Again, like Massa, please catch the F1 Debate Show, episode 34, which we talk about that in more detail. We will do it over the season, and basically for seasons to come, until we're old men, we'll be talking about Jensen Button. Absolutely unbelievable driver. He's
oh, we will tell our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren about Jensen Button.
Obviously, it's unbelievable. I don't think I can wrap this up in a few hours. If you gave me a few hours, I couldn't get through Jensen's career. Absolutely unbelievable. But in terms of the send-off, I'm not sure what will happen on Sunday. I don't think he'll come back, because I think the big thing is, and obviously a few weeks ago there was a Jensen Button interview with obviously the legendary Murray Walker, and he said that ever since he was about 5 years old, his life has been Formula One and racing. He went to primary school, he went to secondary school, he went to, he went to college, he's gone through everything with racing in mind. A bit like how many people actually, many athletes will do that. You go to the gym, train, do nothing else in life, just do that. That's what Jensen's done. And obviously nowadays he wants time to, do his triathlons and stuff like that, and maybe even settle down and get a family and all that. But I'm not sure. I don't unfortunately know Jensen personally, not yet anyway. But that's a big thing to leave on Jensen. JT. It's a big thing to leave on JT. Is Jensen. What an unbelievable career. But we're excited to see Stoffel in, and I think that's what Jensen is as well. Obviously, we know how nice Jensen is, and he's always thinking about other people and all that, always putting them forward. So I think he's excited to see what Stoffel will bring. Obviously, again, Jensen, he'll be hurt by that news of Ron Dennis's departure. Obviously, that's sad news. Again, we'll go into that in 34 and all that. But, absolutely, I think he'll be happy for Stoffel, and we are as well, to see what McLaren will do next year. But Jensen, what an amazing career, and I'll be certain. I hope he takes his helmet off. I hope he does like a Mark Webber and a Shoei, or compare all in 3 in 1. And he might even surprise us in this race. But to be honest, as I said about Felipe Massa, he could DNS, he could spin, he could retire, he could intentionally crash into the wall. We wouldn't care. We would not give a monkeys. We would clap him. We would cry for him. It's going to be absolutely unbelievable. Anyway, so the last thing to mention in this preview is we're going to skip past a lot of teams here because it's kind of like we don't really care. But we have to mention...
Yeah. People would say, we don't have time, we don't have this. To be fair, we don't really...
but the biggest thing, though, is Sauber, obviously, because they've been... JT, they've been obviously 0 points all the way through the season. And then, obviously, Nasser blew the race up in Brazil. They both did a good effort, but obviously 2 points, absolutely unbelievable from him.
Not literally all.
So now they are in 10th place, obviously beating Manor. They're 1 point ahead of Manor. Manor's point, by the way, was about 9 rounds ago, probably even more, about 11. I forgot when Austria was, but obviously a long time ago. So the big question is, well, obviously 2 things. One, we're celebrating Sauber's, moving forward. They are not on 0 anymore. It's absolutely, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. And obviously, are they going to retain that? Are they going to beat Manor in the Constructors' Challenge? And obviously, JT, just remind yourself back to 2012 when Russia were in that battle with Caterham. Every point matters. It's been like before, but I remember 2012 was a massive gain. Obviously, when Russia beat Caterham, it was absolutely unbelievable from that. So, JT, do you think Sauber is going to beat Manor in the Constructors' Championship? They get more respect. They won't be on 0. They'll be the penultimate team at the bottom, but they won't be the last. And obviously, it will bring a bit of moolah, which obviously they need.
Exactly, Elsie. This has been massive. That was a massive race for Sauber. And when I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, Manor have done so well all season. They did so well to get that 1 point in Austria. Sauber have not had they've had a really bad season, bad races. Then this one race they're going to overtake Manor and take like 30 million away from them potentially, because wherever you finish, the higher you finish, the more money you get, which is vital for teams like Renault, Manor, and Sauber. So, who are like fighting financially, this is going to be huge for them. So, especially for Manor as well. But here's another stat for you guys. This is mad, right? For the first time since 2009 season, every team has scored at least 1 point. How good is that?
Well,
that is good. It's a good start. But it's good that every team has scored points because we're not used to it anymore. I'll say, we're used to like Manors, HRTs, and Caterhams.
Apart from obviously, if you can obviously McLaren got disqualified if you remember in 2008. But apart from that, but if you can remember, sorry, not 2007, but if you can remember that, But obviously, as JD said, they did score points, so that counts. We're counting that, and that's an unbelievable stat to live off. The last thing I just do want to mention, though, obviously, really quickly in this preview after Brazil, obviously Esteban Gutierrez at Haas. I mean, he's becoming like it's very sad for him. And obviously he was so mad. He spoke to Gunter Steiner. Yeah. Apparently, I was watching. I forgot what country it was, but I was watching an interview. Obviously, it was an English-speaking country, but I was watching it was another country on the interview, and they were interviewing Gunter Steiner after the race, and they said that Esteban he was almost close to being fired. Like, just you're not driving for us next season. But I'm being serious. He was almost like Gunter just going, Esteban. Get out, a bit like a Gordon Ramsay in Hell's Kitchen. Get them out, just get
fired.
out. Go back to the dorm. It's unbelievable. Anyway, he was like that annoyed because obviously Esteban was so annoyed with that. His season's been bad. Obviously, he's still on 0 points. Roman's beaten him. Roman's got a C for next year. Obviously, K-Mag's got a C for next year. Everything's all hunky-dory at the team, but he's not. He's back out of Formula One. He is so annoyed at Formula One, and that is, I mean, there's no real, what to say about him in this race, but he is annoyed. He is annoyed, and even if the car was like Mercedes paced, or Ferrari, or if the big Ferrari team paced, Esteban is so annoyed. That question on your theory test where you get, what should you do after you've had an argument? Should you drive a car or should you calm down? I don't think you should put Esteban in a car because he's just so angry. Why doesn't Gunter just say to him?
No. He'll be angry. I bet he Danny came out at the start of the season.
Just say, Esteban, you've got a red face. Just sit down. Just sit in that naughty corner until you calm down. But obviously, that was nothing to say about Esteban. Roman, though, he's having the time of his life, apart from Brazil, obviously, when he unfortunately crashed. But that wasn't his fault. That was just aquaplaning. So Esteban annoyed. That was the last thing I wanted to say on the preview, though, because that is a big thing, really. And it's a shame because, obviously, Esteban and Haas, two prodigies. One's doing well, but obviously Esteban was, very sad from him. I don't want someone to leave on a bad note. I wanted Esteban to leave. I mean, no points, that's fine, but he tried. But after Brazil, he's so annoyed. I don't want him to storm out of Formula One. I wanted him to kind of drift out of Formula One and go, yeah, this season's been fine. I might not be in Formula One again, so it's been fun. A new good. American team. That was it really.
Yes, I agree, Elsie. I mean, Esteban Gutierrez, it is a bit shocking on him, in my opinion. I thought it would be, have a lot longer in Formula One, but as I was saying before, the more the season went on, the more I was like, I think Esteban Gutierrez, no disrespect, you're a good driver, but you're a waste of space, in my opinion. Having a driver like Kevin Magnussen in that seat, hopefully will progress Haas into the future, and hopefully it's onto some very good things. But guys, that's it, Elsie. That's the end of the previews for the season. That is it. We're going to wrap up this video. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed the season. Hope you have enjoyed our previews as well. Hopefully you'll follow us in the next season for 2017. But most importantly, that this is completed, but the Drivers' Championship isn't. As I said at the start of the video, who will be champion? Hamilton or Rosberg? Comment in the comment box below. Who do you think will win? Like this video as well. Subscribe as well if you haven't already. And we'll see you very, very soon, guys. Take care, guys. See you later.